UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The Journey program on UBC TV.
Hello viewers, I am Juliet Namkasa, Country Director, Lakamihunen LM International. Now that word, some people pronounce it as Lakamishonen. However, it is Lakamihunen, meaning Doctors on Mission. Lakamihunen is formerly International Aid Services, and we merged in 2019, so last year we changed our name. We implement different projects in Uganda. In Pade, we implement a climate change mitigation project. And then in the refugee setting in Terego and Madiokolo, we have livelihood and food security projects. Also have water intervention project in Kyangwali. However, our major themes flow around water hygiene and sanitation, education, economic empowerment, and health. As we look at the plight of women, it is important to know that for us to accelerate gender equality, it's important to economically empower women. Now, economic empowerment of women is big because it goes beyond giving them economic resources. We have to work on the mindset, but we also have to think about the environment in which they operate. Otherwise, that economic empowerment will not give Uganda the results that we are thinking about. This year, we celebrate a woman in a special way because culture in some ways had denied the women her place as a source of development, as a conduit of development. Women are strong. Women are powerful. When educated, women become an asset. It is said, train a woman, a nation trained. And so I thank Motherland Uganda for considering women and placing them where they belong. And I believe that you can see that wherever a woman is, there is so much change. Our government has been at the center of this. So many years we have had the affirmative action, and I must say that I benefited from that when I was going to university, and it has gone on. And this is very important because the girl child bears such a huge burden when she's growing up. And at times the world has been very, very unfair, which has rendered her in many times not as competitive as the boy child. So this affirmative action has enabled the girl child access some privileges which otherwise would not have been. And when a girl child is empowered, I can tell you, homes become better. Our children become better. When they are empowered, even the men benefit. In the Bible, I'm a Bible reader, we see that the woman was given to the man as a helper. Just imagine what it means to have a helper who is not empowered. But when she knows what to do, the resources of a man have somewhat we call a multiplier effect. Nations grow big and they develop. So we appreciate the government of Uganda for bringing the woman at the forefront. We have seen women in parliament and we know how they have performed. I mean, having women speakers in parliament, that says a lot, and we really appreciate that. We have seen the government embracing the girl-child empowerment, bringing in NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, whose focus has been on the girl child, and that has improved the plight of the girl. It gives me much joy when I listen and we see that in some circles we have more women than men. In managerial positions, women are taking lead. When I think about the Vice President of Uganda being a woman, that says a lot, and it is a lot of motivation for our girl child. And as the Kamihunen, also we exist here in Uganda to support the government efforts. And in our work, when we started in northern Uganda in 2008, we have been in the country longer than that, but allow me refer to 2008 when we went to Padé. One of the things that hurt me was to realize that a woman was a glorified asset. Men would tell us their household items, ranking them in importance, and on top of the hierarchy was a woman. And all that the woman owned was the kitchen assets. Now, when a woman is placed there, I'm telling you, the country cannot develop. And so LM International came in there, and we said we need to work on this culture that has so much marginalized the women and the girl child. And we started programs where we challenged cultures. It's about mindset transformation, challenging those views that place a woman as an asset and not as a person for what she is. It was so bad that many of them made money, but the money belonged to the men simply because they're talking about dowry. And over time, we have challenged that. And one of the tools that we developed was the tool for accelerated community transformation, helping us to challenge some of those cultural beliefs and practices which are negative, which are not developmental. And we have continued. We have supported the girl child, especially the child mothers. We have given them skilling because many of them fall out of school and they're not given second chance in education. They are married off for as low as 2 cows. And I've been challenging them that how much would your daughter cost you? How much bride price would she attract if, for example, she was a graduate or if she was highly placed? And for that, some people have been inspired to think differently about the girl child. Many times they would be drawn out of school to attend to the sick, to help in the homes. And we have said no, let the girl child go to school. So we have given them literacy classes. We have given them starter packages, but also mobilize the community to rally behind their daughters and also to hold men accountable. And this continues. As LM Uganda, we are proud to see that we are making such a contribution. Now, there are challenges when we talk about women empowerment, and one of them I've told you is culture, but also in areas where poverty reigns and people have very few resources. What happens is that they will prioritize, and it is the boy child who comes first in terms of education. But also when there are problems at home, as I've said, it is the girl child who is drawn to attend to such problems as the boy child goes to school. In this case of women empowerment, there has been rights violation, that when the rights of the girl are violated, she does not have a right to speak, the parents speak, especially when the girls have been defiled. We have seen parents settling things out of court, but this girl goes, her life transformed forever because she has a baby. Maybe she's married off as a young child. We are saying that is wrong, and that has been a big challenge. Unfortunately, the other challenge that we have faced has been from the very women who have been abused by culture, and they have come to accept that that is the way of life. I remember when we talked about it's not right for women to be battered, to be beaten. Some of the elder women were saying, no, if a man does not beat you, he does not love you. You need to be disciplined as a wife, and it is okay. Now, seeing that it was the women perpetuating abuse, for us it was one of the most challenging things. We thought actually that they would rally behind the campaign, but unfortunately, they got used to struggling and suffering, and they thought that was the way of life. So mindset transformation has been at the center of this. Now, the other challenge that we have encountered is interacting with men who are not empowered, who do not know the value of women. Fellow Ugandans, you'll agree with me that any man who understands, any father who understands the value of his daughter, he will go to all lengths to defend his daughter. He will ensure that she goes to school. If it is marriage, she will quiz the man who wants to marry her. And I've heard some men saying, if ever you touch my daughter, I'll come and draw her out of the home. And even some have gone ahead to support the husbands in order to ensure that their daughters are safe. And it's because they are empowered. Now, part of the challenge that we see today is that as we talk about women empowerment, we have left the men behind. I saw boys in Pade who were challenging us, saying, why are you giving attention only to the girl child? And yet we are all in the same environment. I will never forget this young man. When I looked in his face, he could not look at me. He could not talk, looking me in the eye. My heart sank because I had been talking to the girls, and the girls were bold enough. They were happy to explain the kind of work we had done, the positivity, but the boy could not look at me in the eyes. My spirit sank because I know this empowered girl is going to look for a husband. And who is going to marry her? This man who is not empowered, who is not confident of himself. Now, when an empowered woman meets a man who is not confident of himself and his ego is challenged a bit, then the physical superiority takes place. And this is where we see women being battered, not because they have done anything wrong, but because the man is not standing where he's supposed to. So, as an organization, we are saying there is a place for positive masculinity. And so we have to bring the boy child on into the agenda. We have to bring him in so that he's also empowered and he knows how to deal with a woman who is financially stable. He knows how to deal with a woman who is very articulate. Some of these men, if you talk to them, they think you're challenging them, you're abusing them, you don't know who they are, simply because they are down there. We have done a lot of harm, especially in our culture in Uganda, where even the most learned women, at the end of the day, they want a man in their lives. And what we are seeing today, that these empowered women who cannot find enough empowered men who are free, they have gone on either to cohabit, take other people's husbands. Some of them are so financially empowered that all they will say is that, well, I want to have a child. I don't mind if a man can take care of my child or not. So we are having another generation of children who are just mothered, but fathers are not in their lives. And that is not right. But simply because we have few men who can stand and be counted. And yet we have a multitude of women who are a force to reckon with. And as Lakamihunen, LM International Uganda, we have recognized that. And that's why we are bringing the boy child into focus right now, so that the boy and the girl move together. When we are looking at empowerment, both of them move together. And we believe this is going to help us as we look at leave no one behind. Fellow Ugandans, I don't know what you believe, and I don't know what your practices are. But for us to build Uganda, for us to strengthen Uganda, everyone must be where he or she is supposed to be. Accelerating gender equality is the focus of our development. Without that, we cannot go where we're supposed to be. So we need women empowerment. And this is economic empowerment. Whoever has the money pulls the shots. This is very true. And some of our women have had to bend low. They've had to suffer in marriages simply because they do not have any resources they can use. They've had to bend low because they cannot pay for education of their children. They cannot even buy food for themselves. They keep crying for kameza, kameza, kameza. And the man will toss his wife around because he knows, without me, my wife cannot stand. Now we have to move from there and get to a level where a woman will stand and stay in the home, not because she cannot live on her own, but because there is value addition in being somebody's wife. And for us to achieve this, we need education. Let us ensure that we have created an enabling environment for the girl to attain education. And we talk a lot about universal primary education. It is very good that the government has made that investment, but we need more. Because when these girls cannot get books from their teachers, from their parents, when the parents cannot buy pens or uniforms, still they will stay at home, despite the fact that we have universal primary education. So all this has to be comprehensive and it has to be all-encompassing. Give the woman money, empower her, let her be able to earn. Then she'll not be at the mercy of the man who brings wife number two. We have heard of those cases. Wife number two comes in and they tell wife number one to make the bed for wife number two. That is a shame. That is a disgrace. And it's because this woman cannot go anywhere with her children. But when she can, then she will stand and talk. And I believe there will be respect for both of them. Issues to do with healthcare. Our mothers suffer a lot. It is a shame that Uganda, the pearl of Africa, in this day and age, when we have so much resources. By the way, we keep saying that we are so poor. We are not. It is a question of resource allocation, the priorities. We need to increasingly prioritize healthcare for women. Our mothers go through a lot, bringing forth the lives that we later on treasure. We have seen some giving birth using torches. Some of the maternity wards are a pain and a shame, and they do not represent the Uganda that we are proud of. If we are going to see gender equality, the woman's priorities have to be put at the forefront, and one of them is where she gives birth from. It is pain to give birth, but it is also boldness to make a father, to make a man proud. Don't we think we have reason enough to celebrate these women by giving them their due health care so that they are protected? We should not be having mothers dying in childbirth. That should not be. We have talked a lot about economic empowerment. We have to increase opportunities for these women to access resources. We appreciate the government for the training programs that we have seen. I have seen a number of young ladies going through the skilling programs. But after the skills development, what next? Some of them do not have ample market where they can sell their produce. And unfortunately, some of them, even as they come for those skills development, there is someone at the back of them who is pushing them, and some of them are really men. Some of the resources that they receive at the end of the day, they end up in the hands of men. What we need is to place this girl child in such a way that even society appreciates protecting her. We should not condone some of these things that, well, just endure that. No, 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 no. Gone are those days. But we appreciate the government for the skilling programs, and I believe that more can be done. Look at those areas where the girl child will stand and shine. Let us keep appreciating them, celebrating them. Yes, where we have startup packages, let us have the women prioritized. Yes, men need the help, but in our culture where still there is marginalization and culture is not coming out to defend the girl child, then the government should be at the forefront. We should hear government more and more saying the girl, because we need her at the forefront. We've talked about leadership. Let us mentor more girls. Let us give them more opportunities. I really appreciate LM International for the work that we have done in Pade. When I saw Pade and Agago, when I saw the women we started with, some of whom could not even say a word in public. I mean, women would sit and wait for their husbands to speak. Whenever we wanted them to talk, we had to be in different meetings. The men had to speak on behalf of the women. But when I saw women coming up, becoming LC counselors, becoming leaders, and they would say, we attribute what we are to the work that you have done in our lives. You have trained us on how to speak. You have trained us on the value of being leaders in our communities and not just being followers. For me, I can say that as an organization, it is worth our time. It is worth the investment. In your work, what are you doing? Are you encouraging the women to take leadership without them forgetting who they are in their homes? Because also that is part of the challenge. At times when women are empowered, they forget that they are wives. And I'm not talking about them as wives for them to be abused, no. But in any good system, everyone knows where they belong. So for us, it gives us much joy to know that we have done that. As we continue to look at women empowerment, I would like to appreciate the government of Uganda for the work that they have done. His Excellency, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, thank you for leading us and placing women at the forefront. Mama Janet Kataha Museveni, we appreciate you for the pace that you have set. You have raised your children in such a way that they are honorable, and there is something that many can draw and learn from you. We continue to thank our funders, Lakamihun and LM International, the funds that you generate from the Swedish population. We are saying thank you. NORAD from Norway, money to be able to do work in the refugee setting. Latter-day Saints Charity for the money you're putting in our work, bringing access to water for the women to be able to take care of their children in their homes. We are saying thank you. The Disability Organization in Denmark, we appreciate what you have done. And we appreciate all of those who are standing with us in helping us fulfill the mission of our organization. My appeal is, cultural leaders, stand and be counted. Ensure that the woman is empowered. Religious leaders, do what you need to do. You know the value of a woman. Bring her at the forefront. Let her have a voice. Politicians, our members of parliament, let the girl child be placed where she belongs. Let us have as many programs as possible which will favor the girl child. And of course, in favoring the girl child, we are talking about gender equality, where the man and the women are where they are. We appreciate you, Uganda. We appreciate you for the work that is being done. Let us take the lead in East Africa. Let us take the lead in Africa as a nation that is placing the woman at the forefront. Then we will see a developing Uganda. We will see a nation that is rising up, and forever we will be the pearl of Africa. What can we say? Thank you, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, for bringing such educative programs to Ugandans. We appreciate the work that you have done, and we pray that you continue. To the producers, we thank you so much for the work that you have done. May God richly bless Uganda.
UBC